You should absolutely skip Miss Marvel, and here is why. Yo, 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 what's up? Welcome to the channel. This is GVNNaija, where we review movies, series, comics, animations, and video games. Now, this is a Marvel one from the comics into the real life big screen. Well, not big screen technically, since it's a series on Disney Plus. But yeah, this is a wrap up of every other thing from episode 2 to episode 6 for the Miss Marvel series. I did a pilot review, which you can check right here, up here, somewhere on the screen. So now, unlike the first one, which went from me being excited to me being very upset, I am not upset. So when I know I mentioned earlier that you should skip Miss Marvel, there are very, very, very legit reasons for why, and I'm going to just lay it all out. I'm going to start with the pros. Pros, Iman Vellani is amazing. If there is one thing, despite my recent major gripes with Marvel and the MCU and whatever Disney is doing there, one thing they still seem to be getting right is the casting. And Iman is just so adorable as Kamala Khan. She's a major reason why you would want to watch the next episode, because she is a teenager, but she's not a cringy type teenager. She's doing so well. She's done so well in the entire series, and I think she is a major selling point for the series. It's a good thing the Marvels movie is coming out later. I am looking forward to seeing her in that one, because it seems that the Marvel, the MCU, Disney seems to get their act a lot more together when it comes to the big screen, because there are box office numbers to look at. So I am really looking forward to seeing her in that one. So that casting, check, done right. Another pro is the look. Now, even though they deviated so much from the origin of the character and making her a discount Green Lantern with the energy projection power she gets from the bracelet, which is just very irritating to say the least, at least the look they got right. She has the scarf, she has the S sign, it just looks so good. And the conversation with her dad Yusuf, that culminated to her getting a name Miss Marvel from Nightlight, I think it was also beautiful. It was well done, and yeah, I think that's all when it comes to pros for this series. Now let me go to the cons, and the reason why you should absolutely skip Miss Marvel. So we start with things like the Noah dimension and the clandestines, and I'm like, what the hell? What in the Stan Lee is going on in this series? There are so many things about this series that seem to be doing everything in its power to take us away from the fact that Miss Marvel is an inhuman. It is a story that just keeps going either round and round and round and round in circles, or just goes branching. I mean, when you talk about the series, Loki series, I talk about alternate timeline, right? The TVA, what they do is they prune out the divergent timelines. This one just seems to be a series that is all about divergence. Its purpose, its sole aim is to tell you everything except whatever it has to do with Miss Marvel. Because here's the thing, while from maybe a story point of view, you might kind of understand why they took us all the way back to her roots in Pakistan, because she traveled to Pakistan and then somehow, and that's the thing about the series. As far as I know, never in the comics did Kamala Khan have the power to travel in time. So there is a part in the story that goes with a grandmother talking about how the bracelet helped her find her father when she was still a baby. At the time, she was maybe, I think, 3 years old or so. 3 years old. But then it led her to her dad when she was lost at the train station. This was the time during the partition in the past where there was a split between among India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, right? And Muslims were being persecuted, so they had to move to Pakistan. So a lot of stuff that was happening at the time. And somehow, it turns out that story that many people did not believe our grandmother said, and was the reason why our granddad left her grandma, and the major reason why there was some sort of rift between her mother and her grandmother, turned out to be true. And guess who created the stars? It was Kamala Khan in the past. And how did she get to the past? She was attacked by one of the antagonists, and that antagonist is hit her bracelet, and somehow she found herself in the past for a couple of minutes. There is no logic behind it. There is no reason for the why, because Aisha, a great grandmother whom had been stabbed in the past, also now saw her and said, "You came. You are here at the right time." It was just plot hole after plot hole. It's like, you think this plot hole is big, let's give you a bigger plot hole so that you know that yes, we are digging holes for ourselves not to get out of. And that was what this series was about. The entire thing with the energy projection, the entire thing about our powers, the entire thing about the arc in Pakistan, meeting the other faction, everything about it just screamed misdirection that made no sense. That was what it felt like to me. I watched it, and every time I saw Iman, I was just like, yes, Iman, you're a breath of fresh air. I love seeing you. And also other members of the cast, hey, they did well. But especially for me, Iman was a major selling point for me. And I think there is something that is happening overall in Disney and the MCU where a particular name is known, but then a lot of things about that name are changed for the big screen. And while I get it that there are new fans, people that are not like me, that know nothing about these characters, and that could appeal to them, you have to understand that a major percentage of the people that are watching this thing, the people that got other people into Captain America, Iron Man, and all these other characters in your franchise are people like me that knew about it, that could tell our friends about it, that could tell our friends what to sort of expect, and that's where they came into it. So when you just sideline people like me, who are still a major percentage of your demographic market, then it's like it's a recipe for disaster. And something similar happened with Lightyear. I'm going to be dropping that review in another couple of days. It's the same thing that is happening here. Something that makes you ask yourself, is this show made for? And no offense to the CW, but we know that the CW is owned by the same company that owns HBO and HBO Max. They put a lot of their money in HBO instead of the CW. But when you watch it, you're like, was this show made by the CW? And here is why. Okay, so it has the budget, the VFX looks real, right? But at the end of episode 2, for example, she was running from a government agency, and then she jumps over a bus. And when she jumps to the other side, get this, and this is something that would at least take 5 to 10 seconds. So you are being chased by people. You jump over a bus. You're on the other side. I think it was a truck. You're on the other side, right? Now there you are on the floor. These people were very close. It's not like they were like 100 meters away from that truck. No, they are just on the other side. So truck, them, you on the other side, and somehow you had the time to land on the floor to go out. A car comes, opens the door, picks you up, and moves. And all of these guys were there. It's like they were there just waiting for the car to happen. They're like, whoa, she's about to get released. Oh, she's about to get freed from us. Oh. That was what it felt like. It felt so weak, so chipping. It felt like, is that these people don't rate us? Are they whining us? What is going on? And something similar also happened in episode 3. Towards the end, I escaped. So that's the thing. It's like the action felt half-assed for the most part. A lot of it, you knew that there were no stakes to it. And while I get it that this might be a kid-friendly version of what is happening in the MCU, but see, the fact still stems that, or the fact alone that you people did not respect the source material just made me go at the point. I was just like, yeah, this show is irritating me. I know I'm going to watch it to the end so that I don't have a biased opinion, because honestly, I opened my mind up to this news story, but then even the news story, the way it was being told, it was just off. It felt very off the mark. It was like, this is the goalpost, and yes, it's like the bad penalty or throwing. Yeah, that was what it felt like. That they just played the penalty, took it to the throwing, and that was it. It was not like they knew what their goal was. And let me make you understand this better. Now, the entire series is done because the story of the entire series was just about her being an accepted superhero coming into her own light. You know, it was supposed to be like an origin story, right? But this wasn't like an origin story. This was like a pre-origin story. So take Star Wars Rogue One. Remember, the entire story of Rogue One could have just been explained in a statement. The people that got the plans to destroying the Death Star, that's all. Like that was all. That was what Rogue One was made out of. This entire series is a sort of pre-origin story, because remember I mentioned in my first review, the pilot review, that she had the power to morph into Captain Marvel, which she did. She morphed into Carol Danvers, right? The fact that she's an Inhuman. Now, this was alluded to at the tail end of episode 6 by a friend, Bruno, that he went through their DNAs and he matched their DNA with other members of her family, and then he realized that there's a sort of mutation. That's the closest thing we heard to her being an Inhuman at the very end of episode 6. So that's the thing. And also, after the first end of the credits, with the part with the graphics and the animations, when we get to seeing her again on her bed, right, she felt the bracelet glow, and then next day she morphs, she flies into her closet, and when she comes out, she's nobody else but Carol Danvers. And that's the thing. These are things that we expected to at least see in the pilot episode. So I get it that maybe you're trying to warm people up to it, right? But this is exactly why I said you should skip Miss Marvel, because this is not a series that you need to watch to understand anything that is happening in the MCU. No. This is not a series that is that interesting to watch or that much fun to watch. No. It was just a way for, in my opinion, and this might seem very harsh, apologies in advance to anybody that might be offended, but in my opinion, it felt like a way for Disney to just cash in on the Marvel IP that they bought, and that was it. That way, it was 6 episodes, so worst case scenario, you would at least subscribe for 2 months if you wanted to watch it in every week. That was just it. You just needed to fill that time gap. She-Hulk is coming out in August. I don't know what that one is going to be like. It looks like there's a lot of fourth wall breaking. Maybe that was just left for the trailers, or it's going to be happening in real life. I don't know. Or when it's released rather. I don't know. But then I don't know what if they are going in the same direction. Although I doubt it, because we've got Wong and we've got Bruce Banner Hawk. We don't know where they will go with it. So at this point, it's like they are sort of trying to reinvent, retell the story, or try to make it more modern. I don't know what their approach is with this, but in my opinion, I don't think it's working. Miss Marvel is an absolute skip for anybody that was on the fence. You know, unlike when you wanted to watch Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and you need to understand at least what happened in WandaVision, right? You don't need to understand anything that happens. Remember Shotel that was introduced in Multiverse of Madness as America Chavez, and we saw her with her powers and everything. If you watch the Marvels when the movie gets released, you will not miss anything from the entire 6 episodes of the Miss Marvel series when you see Kamala Khan in that movie, because there is absolutely nothing this brings to the table. I don't want to sound harsh and call it an absolute waste of time, but it's an absolute skip. 110%. I recommend you skip it. As a rating, it gets a 2/10. But then because of Iman Vellani, it gets let's add 2 more, so it gets a 4/10. When you remove Iman, which you can't because she's Kamala Khan, you get a 2/10. This is an absolute skip. I don't think it's really worth your time. It's 40 minutes per episode at least, so you're looking at 240 minutes. That's like what, 3 hours? It's 4 hours rather. It's not worth your time. So in my opinion, skip it. You will miss nothing. This review has more than done it for you. Now, if you like this review, feel free to check out this video or this video next. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. It's been Tech for GVN. Live long and prosper.